This series of videos, we're going to introduce site models. And we're going to start out with some fairly simplistic ways that we can make and use site models. So first of all, let's talk about what a site model is. A site model represents the ground plane on a property. It's a way that we can show elevation changes on the property. So the first thing that I want to do is to get my file all set up. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to open up my template. And the first thing that I want to do is add some new design layers to my template. So I'm going to come over here to Design Layers. And there are three that I would recommend adding. So the first one is going to be specifically for the site model. The next one is going to be for site modifiers. And the last one is going to be for elevations. And I'm going to go ahead and move all of these to almost the bottom of the stacking order. Probably move it right above line work. All right, that looks good. And then for the scale, because it brought these design layers in on a 1-to-1 scale. So I'm just going to go in and edit that one. Change all of the scale to 1/8. Go ahead and make all layers match that. Click OK, click OK. OK, one more time. And then over here, my design layers have been updated. So since I've added those new design layers to my file, what I would recommend is that we update the template before we do anything else. So I'm simply going to come over here to File, Save as Template. Then I'm going to click on that original template, hit Save. Yes, I want to replace it. And now I'm ready to begin creating a site model. There are several different methods to create a site model. The method in this series of videos uses the stake tool. It's one of the simpler methods and is ideal when you have a few spot elevations of the property. We're going to put together a site model based on assumptions of a property I found on Redfin.
I found this picture on Redfin. And the reason that I picked it is because this is a pretty common occurrence here in Portland, is that you will have a house that's higher, the elevation is higher than the sidewalk. And so you have this quick, short little sloped piece of terrain here in the front. And it's pretty easy to take the elevation. In fact, just based on this picture, I can kind of quickly guess that this is 1 foot. Oh man, my cursor. So your average riser is going to be about 6 inches. They can all be a little bit different, but assuming that this is 6 inches, I can see that it is, let's see, 1 foot, 2 foot, probably 3 feet in elevation right here. So based on that information, I'm just going to quickly make a site model based on this. And of course, if you've been to the property and you've taken elevation from a number of different spots, you're going to come away with a more accurate site model.
Before we start creating the site model, let's lay out a few of the assumptions we're making about the property, such as the property line, parking strip, and sidewalk. So the first thing that I need to do is to determine the size of the property that I'm working on. And for your average Portland City lot, they're about 50 feet by 100 feet. So I'm going to do that. And what I'm going to do is over here under the base sheet design layer, and of course your file will be organized a little bit differently, but I will put this on the base sheet. I am going to come over here in the attributes palette. I'm going to get rid of the fill. And then I'm also going to change this to a dashed or dotted line type. A lot of times property lines, they use a series of dots and dashes to indicate that it's the property line. So I think I'm going to just go ahead and go with this one for the property line. And then I am going to double click on the rectangular tool, and that way I can enter in the exact size here. So I want to do a width of 50 feet and a height of 100 feet. And I'm going to position that based on the center. Go ahead and click OK. And then here in my file, I'll go ahead and place that rectangle. If I zoom in, you can see that it has the dashed and dotted line. And just to be really clean in the object info palette, I'm going to come over here and change that Y value to a 0. First, what I want to do is go ahead and add some simple guidelines to this. And so I like using the 2D locus tool for that. So down here, we're going to say that the street is over here. And so I am going to place a 2D locus right there. And then I want to move that 2D locus up by 6 feet. That's going to be the parking strip. So I'm going to come over here in the object info palette, and under the Y field, I'm going to do plus 6 feet. Then I'm going to add another 2D locus point, and this is going to represent the sidewalk now. And so I'm going to go for another plus 5 feet. And then I'm going to add one more 2D locus to that. And that is going to represent the beginning of my steps to the end of my steps. So I know that I have 6 risers in these stairs because that's what we were looking at when we were sort of estimating the elevation on this property. And so that means that I have 5 treads. So I'm going to come over here and place another 2D locus point in the drawing. And then this time I am going to say that each riser is about 15 inches and there are 5 of them. So 5 times 15 is going to be 60, and that's 60 inches. So once again, under the Y field, I'm just going to do plus 60. And so this is essentially where my site model is going to become 3 feet in elevation, and this is 0 feet in elevation right here between both of those. Now we can create our site model.